Your place is in the trash. You are a useless, pathetic relic, and I'm done dealing with your ancient problems." Those were the words my only daughter, Clara, hurled at me just 6 months after my wife died. My wife, Eleanor, had been the glue, the buffer, and the silent partner who always shielded me from Clara's increasingly toxic, entitled demands. But with Eleanor gone, Clara, and her perpetually dissatisfied husband, Marcus, saw me not as a grieving father, but as an obstacle and a financial opportunity. The house, you see, was the bone of contention. It was my house, paid for decades ago, but Clara decided it was her asterisk inheritance now, and she wanted the equity to finance Marcus's failing business venture. When I refused to sign over the title, she simply changed the locks, threw my few belongings, my favorite armchair, my photo albums, my medication, out onto the lawn, and issued the ultimate, cold verdict. I was a 68-year-old man, a retired history professor, standing on the curb with nowhere to go, told by my own daughter that my place was literally with the refuse. What Clara didn't know, and what she soon discovered in the most humiliating, public way possible, was that I had not only been anticipating her greed, but I had been preparing for it. The truth was, this house was just one small asset, the vast majority of my late wife's and my combined estate, a portfolio worth over $15 million was held in a discreet trust I alone controlled. The question wasn't if I should take my revenge, but whether I should simply use that colossal fortune to ensure that Clara and Marcus's entire financial foundation collapsed, forcing them to learn the true, brutal cost of filial contempt. Was I wrong to use $15 million to deliver a chilling, permanent lesson in consequence? Tell me if you would have done the same thing. To fully grasp the setup, you need the history of the house, the estate, and Clara's entitled nature. My wife, Eleanor, and I were lifelong partners. I was a respected, tenured history professor, and Eleanor, though she kept it quiet, was a brilliant, early-stage investor who managed a significant portfolio of tech and real estate holdings. Over 40 years, we built a very comfortable, stable, and quite large nest egg, mostly due to Eleanor's quiet genius. The house itself, a beautiful Victorian in a prime neighborhood, was bought entirely with my professor's salary early on. It was my asterisk name on the deed, providing a perfect symbol of my control. But the wealth, the $15 million in stocks, bonds, and passive income streams, was securely managed in a complex system of blind trusts, structured by Eleanor years ago. She had a cold, clear eye for character. She loved Clara, but she was never blind to her materialistic streak. Clara had always been demanding, even as a child. She believed she deserved success rather than earning it. As an adult, she married Marcus, a man who was all bluster and no follow-through, constantly starting ambitious, high-risk ventures that inevitably failed. They were perpetually broke, perpetually asking us for loans that were never repaid. While Eleanor was alive, she quietly offered help, but always from her own discreet accounts, ensuring I wasn't involved, and never giving Clara access to the principal. Eleanor was firm. They could have help, but not entitlement. When Eleanor passed away after a brief illness, the dynamics changed instantly. Grief was secondary to Clara. The primary emotion was urgency. She believed that with Eleanor gone, the financial floodgates should open. She moved quickly, convincing Marcus that I, the senile history professor, was a soft touch and that the house's equity was their birthright. She started by moving herself and Marcus into the spare room, claiming I needed help, coping with the grief. What I actually needed was quiet time, but Clara saw it as a tactical advantage. The house quickly became a battleground. Clara and Marcus started treating my home like a shared dormitory they barely contributed to. Marcus was constantly on the phone in loud, desperate business calls, and Clara started redecorating, moving my favorite, worn-in furniture out and replacing it with cheap, modern pieces. The real conflict, however, came when they demanded I take out a massive reverse mortgage or sell the house so they could invest in Marcus's latest, most likely doomed startup. "Dad," Clara said, her voice dripping with condescending patience, "you don't need this large home. You're alone. We need the capital for our future. It's only fair." I refused. Absolutely. I refused to sacrifice my security for Marcus's incompetence. I told them, this house stays, and I stay. If you need money, you work for it, like Elinor and I did. That was the trigger. My refusal was interpreted not as a rational choice, but as an act of war. The eviction was planned and executed with shocking speed. They waited until I had stepped out for my daily walk to a nearby library. When I returned, the locks had been changed and my entire life. My books, my clothes, my research notes, and the aforementioned armchair was piled haphazardly on the front lawn next to the municipal garbage bins. The scene was appalling, a lifetime of memories dumped on the grass. I knocked. Clara opened the door, standing behind a chain lock, her face cold and hard. Marcus loomed behind her, a smirk of cheap victory on his face. When I asked her, calmly, what she thought she was doing, that's when the venom came out. "Your place is in the trash. You are a useless, pathetic relic, and I'm done dealing with your ancient problems. The house is mine now. You have no legal basis here, you old fool. Go live in a retirement home." She slammed the door, standing there, looking at my life reduced to a pile of junk on the lawn. The utter contempt in her eyes was a physical blow. The irony was, she truly believed that by eliminating the relic, she had successfully claimed the entire estate. But she had only secured the least valuable, most exposed asset. By throwing me out of my house, she had triggered the final, complex revenge protocol that Elinor and I had painstakingly designed years ago. You see, Elinor and I had long worried about Clara's character. After a particularly demanding period 5 years prior, Elinor insisted we set up a contingency of character clause. This clause stipulated that upon Elinor's death, if I, the surviving spouse, was ever removed, evicted, or financially coerced out of the primary residence by Clara, the entire $15 million trust which Clara believed was held under simple inheritance laws would immediately restructure. Instead of being bequeathed to Clara upon my death, the trust would become fully liquid, and ownership would be transferred to a new charitable foundation I had quietly created, named after Elinor's childhood dog. Clara's name would be permanently and irrevocably excluded from any and all future disbursements. Clara's ultimate act of greed had not only cost her the inheritance, but had transferred complete financial control to me, allowing me to use the $15 million as a sword. I was free, financially unbound, and absolutely furious. So that's the situation I was in. I was a 68-year-old retired professor, legally homeless but financially solvent, sitting on a portfolio of over $15 million, and driven by a cold-blooded desire for justice against the daughter who had betrayed me. I could have simply sued her for illegal eviction, which I certainly did, and bought a new, smaller house with a fraction of the money. But that would have been a mere inconvenience for her. I wanted her to suffer the same kind of comprehensive, public humiliation and financial desperation she had inflicted on me, but on a catastrophic scale. I wanted them to realize that the asterisk relic asterisk they threw in the trash was the single most powerful financial force in their lives. Before I tell you the methodical, chilling way I used my inherited power to systematically dismantle Marcus's struggling business and the financial security they based their entire greedy plan on, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have prioritized discreet legal action to get the house back? Or would you have gone for a public, spectacular financial takedown that exposed their greed and incompetence to the world? Seriously, let me know what choice you would have made right there. I chose the public, spectacular financial takedown. I hired a specialized team of corporate litigation and finance experts. My instructions were simple. Don't target Clara directly. Target her source of pride and Marcus's Achilles heel. His latest business venture, Ascent Digital. Ascent Digital, I quickly learned, was already sinking, desperately seeking a bridge loan to survive the next quarter. Marcus, arrogant and desperate, was relying on his father-in-law's perceived weakness, me, and the house's equity to save him. My first move was surgical. Using my $15 million portfolio, I quietly and aggressively purchased two things. First, the house's outstanding mortgage lien. Just in case they somehow got the title through fraud, I wanted control of the debt. Second, I purchased a massive block of Ascent Digital's outstanding commercial debt notes, becoming their largest anonymous creditor. Marcus and Clara, busy enjoying their ill-gotten house, had absolutely no idea the debt note holder had changed from a faceless bank to the useless relic they despised. The revenge came 4 months later, perfectly timed for Marcus's crucial quarterly board meeting, where he was scheduled to secure the final, essential bridge loan. I didn't appear, I didn't call. I had my litigation team issue a formal, non-negotiable demand for the immediate repayment of the commercial debt notes asterisk in full asterisk. Marcus's company, Ascent Digital, instantly plummeted into a catastrophic liquidity crisis. The bank, seeing their primary financing suddenly evaporate, immediately pulled the bridge loan. Ascent Digital was dead, murdered by an anonymous hostile creditor they couldn't identify. The climax was delivered via Marcus's board meeting. As Marcus was sweatily trying to explain the sudden, baffling financial collapse, a sleek, unmarked courier entered the room and handed a simple manila envelope to the board chairman. Inside was a single typed sheet, a formal, legally binding acquisition offer for Ascent Digital's remaining assets, filed by a newly formed corporation named ***, the Aliner Fund. ***, the offer was for pennies on the dollar, just enough to cover the remaining debt I hadn't already purchased. The letter ended with a final, stinging clause, dictating that Marcus, the current CEO, must be immediately and permanently dismissed, with a non-disparagement agreement signed within 24 hours. The chairman, seeing the name ***, the Aliner Fund, ***, and the massive, ironclad backing, immediately accepted. Marcus, utterly destroyed, raced home to Clara. Clara, initially thinking Marcus's failure was just a temporary setback, quickly learned the devastating truth when her lawyer called. The Aliner Fund was controlled entirely by me. The final straw came with the house. Using the previously acquired mortgage lien, I initiated legal action on the house for non-payment of property taxes and minor repairs that Marcus had neglected. Since they couldn't produce the title due to the legal mess of their forced entry, and they had no income, the court quickly granted me an order of repossession. I didn't move back in. I didn't want the house anymore, just the principal. I had the sheriff escort Clara and Marcus out of the property, publicly and definitively. As they stood on the curb, watching my team load their cheap, modern furniture onto a salvage truck. Clara started screaming, "You old monster! This is my inheritance. How dare you?" I didn't flinch. I had a mess. Davies delivered the final, brutal statement. This property, like the $15 million trust, is now owned by *** the Aliner Fund ***, established to honor my late wife's wish that capital only flow to those who exhibit character. Your actions in treating Mr. Thorne as trash were the legal and moral trigger that cost you everything. You are permanently excluded. The consequences were absolute. Marcus's career was over, his name synonymous with failure and debt. Clara, stripped of her home, her husband's income, and her entire expected inheritance, had nowhere to turn. They were forced to move into a tiny, dilapidated rental apartment, their social standing utterly annihilated. The story of the wealthy retired professor who used his secret trust fund to destroy his greedy daughter and her incompetent husband leaked through the local business community like wildfire. Clara's final words, "Your place is in the trash," became the ironic tagline for their spectacular fall. I sold the Victorian house, liquidated Marcus's company assets, and rolled the entirety of the $15 million into ***, the Aliner and Arthur Thorne Foundation ***. We provide scholarships for students who were abandoned by family and fund research into ethical business practices. A complete counterpoint to the moral void that destroyed Clara and Marcus. I bought myself a beautiful, manageable condo downtown and now live a peaceful, meaningful life, teaching history part-time at a local community college, free from greed and entitlement. The greatest revenge was not the money itself, but the fact that Clara's overwhelming greed, the very trait she indulged, was the instrument of her own and Marcus's complete destruction. My wife knew exactly what she was doing. The test worked. I look back now and know I made the right choice. My public financial takedown wasn't about spite. It was about delivering an unforgettable lesson on the true cost of filial betrayal. Like this video if you think the relic delivered the perfect, justified financial karma. Subscribe for more stories about secret trusts and spectacular revenge. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. Do you think I should have allowed them a small amount of money for basic living? Or was the complete ruse in the only way to truly prove the point? I'll see you all in the next story.